Hello, everybody. Good evening and a warm welcome to this week's coaching call. Um, Everybody knows me. I'm Paul. Everybody knows Rob. How you doing, Rob, over there?
I'm fine. How are you doing this morning?
Not too bad, actually. Not too bad.
I'm gonna go with no hat today. What do you think?
Yeah. That's back from your travels. You're looking good, all bearded up, and you got some long hair doing that, dude.
You didn't know I had this gray hair. Well, nobody knows. Everyone's like, I thought you were bald. Well, anyway.
Yeah, you thought that everybody thought that we were the same, you know?
Yeah.
So, man, looking handsome as ever.
All right. We got some guys coming on. Daniel just joined the call. Hey, Daniel, how are you, buddy? All right, good. Well, there's some people coming on. There's Big Steve. Good.
Yeah.
All right, nice to see you guys. What are we going to talk about today, Paul?
We're going to carry on where we were last week. We're going to carry on where we were last week, and we're going to carry on looking for how to find a product, looking at various different techniques, strategies. We're going to be touching on ASIN Inspector slightly. I'm not going to go too much in detail because I'm going to do that in another call in depth. But I basically want to cover things like how to pick a niche. And then once you're looking at a particular product that you've got in mind, having a look at the trends, make sure that's a sort of a viable trend that you can actually look at. And then we can actually look at some numbers inside of ASIN Inspector. So and that's basically where I'd like to go today. So I'm going to pull up Amazon. Then share my screen, and let's dive in. So if anybody's got any questions along the way, just throw them into the chat. As you can see from a technical point of view, we are running direct on the YouTube channel today. So let's see how that goes. Right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right, we should be able to see that. Morning, James. Quick comment in the chat, thank you. All righty, so right, the first thing that we're looking at is what type of niche we really want to be getting into, and that's really down to yourself. But I guess it's ideal if you find a niche that you're interested in, because it's so much easier if you understand a product, if you understand the background of a group of products and something that you believe that you understand a little bit more, even if you're passionate about that product, is a lot better to get into something like that as opposed to just some random I've got no idea. I've only been on a boat or a yacht once, I guess. So that'd be a little bit nonsense if I went into the yachting niche. I don't know anything about it. Consequently, it'd be very, very difficult for me to sell a product like that. So when you're picking a niche, look around you, but make a list. Basically, make a list of things that you like, you've got an interest in, and then you can start to work inside that particular group. So if you've got pets, for example, it could be in a pet niche, which is a very popular and popular niche to get into. Some of that is quite saturated, so you need to be thinking outside the box with respect to the products. But this is why we're doing some of the search and research, so we can help you look at and how to identify products that are not necessarily oversaturated or got too much competition. And again, we can go through that later on as we move forward. But picking a niche is really important. I think potentially a few years back it was a case of like, it doesn't matter, just pick any old niche. It really doesn't matter. But I think coming back around and sort of Rob and I discussed this sort of on a regular basis, it is definitely better to jump into a niche that you understand. Would you agree, Rob?
Well, I agree with that. I think it makes it easier, but I don't think it's absolutely a requirement. I think, especially on these first product or your second product, I think that you may pin yourself a little bit in a pigeonhole if that's your only thought process, because, you know, if we're talking about unsexy products or we're looking for products that might be, you know, better, we don't want to pass something over because, you know, we don't want to do a, you know, we're not into gardening and we don't want to do a gardening tool, but we found this great niche inside of it. Now, I think when you first start out, see if you can find something in pets if you're interested in pets. But if you don't find something, don't limit yourself to just that up front. I think eventually if you want to turn your business into, you know, a brand or over time or whatever it might be, I think that that's good. But I would just be cautious not to pigeonhole yourself into, I've got to be in arts and crafts. You know, I think maybe on your second or third project, maybe you want to like maybe gear more towards that, because if you gear that out of the gate, the problem is that you're now, you may fall in love with something that you may not have the skill to make happen. But if you do something on the first time, then, you know, your skill will get better. And so that maybe you can make something else happen if you do it. You know what I'm saying? Like you may be able to, you know, because you've got more skill, but up front, you've got no skill. You really need to find a product that's in a great value orientation. And then what happens sometimes is become educated about that product. You may decide, hey, you know what, you know, we have been, you know, in some meetings here in Chiang Mai, we do with Amazon sellers. And, you know, we were laughing the other day, we were doing a product search and enema buckets came up, you know, and I thought, well, I don't think there's probably many people in the enema, you know, niche, you know, and there wasn't. But, you know, people were making money. Well, that may not be my passion, but there was profit in there and it was things like that. So I love the idea that having a passion will help you be, you know, keep your, you know, attention tuned in. But I don't think it's absolutely necessary on the first product or your second product. Because I mean, the real deal about the first and second product is let's get something up there, get it launched, and have you learn how to do this and become successful because you have a great niche. And then while you're doing that, you can put together your passion project as you're moving along, acquiring skills, because the skill is more important than anything. You know, and the other thing is, you know, do we want to get into your passion the first time where you don't have any skills and maybe you blow it up because you've kind of tried to put yourself in a specific area? Just my thoughts on it. I mean, I flip back and forth on that, and that's probably why you started out with that thought. I kind of flip back and forth between do a passion and do whatever. And currently this week, I tend to lean more towards find a niche that makes money and learn, and then slide into your passion secondly. Like your first initial product doesn't need, and then that's where people get in trouble, where all of a sudden they want to go get a product that has, you know, they want to order 1,000 units out of the gate because they believe in it and they have this passion about that product, and they have no idea about the Amazon business or how that might apply. So I would just suggest that maybe the first or second product, you find products that match the niche first. And then, I mean, by God, great if you find something in your niche. I'm not saying don't start out looking there, but if you can't, don't pigeonhole yourself into something that you have to do because you believe in it. You know, believe in the numbers. That's what you need to believe in, because the numbers are what you're ultimately going to get you paid. You know what I mean? Like, believe in the fact that, you know, your business is doing well because you have a niche that has the right, you know, has the right parameters inside of that niche that actually will make you money. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get yourself into something that you're pushing on because it is passionate to you. But maybe in that first realm, not being as passionate, you know, may keep you more sane, maybe. You know what I mean? It may keep you safer. So maybe the first time I'd suggest, you know, do a numbers issue more than anything on this first one. If it happens to fall into something you're interested in, fantastic. Go ahead and run with it. But make sure the numbers matter up front more than anything. Because if you get stuck in dog toys, you know, and you can't find a dog toy that makes sense, don't all of a sudden pick one that doesn't fit the criteria. The criteria is everything. So pick products with less than 150 competitors, you know, pick products where the money's spread out, you know, the basic strategy that we'll continue to talk about over and over. I have a weekly meeting here in Chiang Mai, and I mean, I go over the strategy every single week, And before today's over, I'll go through the strategy again. So keep trying to pound it and pound it and pound it in your head that the strategy is what matters. It's having low competition and having the money spread out so that you can get in there, you can have cheaper pay-per-click, and you can rank your product quickly instead of, you know, struggling how to do that. So
that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
So James is asking, do you start your search with products or niches? Well, I think we probably start, I mean, well, no matter what, when you're searching in any of these software programs, I mean, typically on, especially ASIN Inspector, I mean, AmaSuite and Jungle Scout, the web app. So AmaSuite, which is software offsites on your computer, and it searches all of Amazon. And then Jungle Scout basically does a similar thing, but they have their own database, so it's a little quicker. But those you're going to probably start in with, more niche oriented stuff. And then if you're going outside, like we're going to do an AmaSuite, that's the right word. If you're going to start out with ASIN Inspector, you're going to be more product oriented and looking for products that have specific categories that we're looking for. You know, so there you go, James.
Very good.
I just saw Cynthia Guy. Hi, Cynthia. It's been a while since we've seen you. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us today.
Indeed. And the other thing that is important is, if it's not in your passion realm, if you don't know anything about it, but you have found a great product, go out and do your research and become an expert in that particular product. Science, you know, you can actually do that homework. So right, when it comes to finding a product, you don't know what the product is to start with, so you need to start looking around. So if I'm in that, just for the sake of sort of the training and such, I'm going to be looking at cat products. I haven't got a cat. I used to have some, but I certainly haven't got them over here. So I'm just going to put in cat products in search in Amazon and see what comes up. Now, obviously, sort of without any analytical tools, it can be very difficult to understand any of this. But what you can see is that there is a direct correlation between the number of reviews and how well a product is selling. But I just want to go over the page just in case those.
You know, Paul, that's all we had 2 years ago when we first started. Hey, when you picked your spoons, my favorite thing to give you grief about.
Yeah.
When you picked your spoons, you didn't know how much money that was doing a month. You had no idea. You had to guess.
Well, that's right, and that's exactly it. It was a case of working through it, taking products out into a spreadsheet, and hoping for the best.
Hey, that's what hey, Paul, we'll now blame that on the fact that we couldn't even come up with a number. You had to guess.
That's it. That's exactly it. So yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So hey, I just want to, yeah, go on.
If you're new to the call, Paul's first product he did after doing ASM was some measuring spoons, and that's ultimately how Paul and I left. And so I kind of give him a hard time about his measuring spoons. But you Paul, you can just always remember the hard time you can give me about buying grill hats. So
yeah, grill hats with the lights on top. Brilliant.
Grill hats with the lights. I had a hat that had lights on it, and I decided it wasn't just a running hat; it was a grill hat. That didn't work out so good. So,
well, you know, it's like you learn from these things. So
you can't. Guess what? Guess how much you can learn without picking a product? Zero.
Yep.
You know, and if you use the launch process that we're talking about, you can get into the business much easier, much quicker than you can, you know, as in doing the test process that I'll talk about the strategy at the end of this call of how you process through it. That you know, that will help. Oh, there's Bill. Hey, Bill, how are you, buddy? Thanks for joining the call today. All right, Paul, go ahead. Let's talk about cat.
Yeah, cat products. I've got yeah. But basically, I just want to cover the page just so when we can actually understand what I'm talking about as I'm moving forward. This is the search bar, obviously moving that Moving down the page, on the right-hand side, you've always got 4 slots for paid advertising or pay-per-click, PPC. All right, so this is where people go in and pay for their product to show up, or they bid for their product to show up in a sponsored ad position, and the primary ones are on the right-hand side here. Okay, now Amazon changed their algorithm and how they actually present this main page very, very regularly. They split test, and they are the kings of split testing. Now, sometimes you will see sponsored ads right at the top here, and generally it's the first 2. Now, today, there aren't any. Okay, so we've got to scroll down to find the first sponsored ad on this particular page. Now, often they'll be down the bottom. In fact, I can't see any here. So what we got here is just on the right-hand side. Okay, so be aware that when we're talking about sponsored ads or PPC positions or making sure they're all full, we're talking about these positions over here. So you can see these are all cat related items. So therefore I know that this particular niche, people are willing to spend their money to get their products showing on the front page, regardless of how old they are. Okay, now as you're moving through, you can see that some of these products are selling well. On the first page, 135 reviews, meaning they're selling quite a few, or they have sold quite a few, because there is a direct correlation between the number of reviews and the amount they've sold over time. Now, that doesn't mean to say that they are a consistent seller. We know a few people in the group that have been doing giveaways and sponsored ads. Then they've sort of built up their reviews. This is before the review restrictions and end of last year, or October of last year, and there was something out of 500 reviews. So if you have a look at that, you think, oh, this product here is obviously selling well. But if you actually talk to the person and said, well, no, actually I'm not selling anything at the moment, because those 500 reviews were all paid for. Okay, they were not organic, or maybe some of them were organic, but the majority of them were paid for. So therefore, it gives you a false indication. But when you got something like this over here, this Comfort Zone, at sort of 5,600 reviews, you know that's a hot selling product. Absolutely no doubt about it. And they've been around a long time. They're well established. So you can go through there. And I talked last week about having this mental checklist, which is the products to avoid. Now, the more you do this, the more it will become ingrained with respect to scrolling down and identifying what products to steer clear from. This product here is a spray, therefore it's a liquid. I'm not going to go near a liquid to start with. I want a nice, easy product. Again, in ingestibles, I'm not going to get into ingestibles to start with straight out the gate. I'm not going to get into liquids to start with out of the gate. The 3-story house, that looks pretty good, but without doing investigation, one would assume there's going to go in there, so it's going to be quite a big product. And again, I'm going to steer clear for something like that. Steer clear of this. This got a spray or a refill or electronics or whatever. Move away. This could well be an interesting little product, the multi-feeder by the looks of it. Self-feeding tunnel for the cats. So that would be something that I may be interested in. So before you actually got any software and stuff like this, it really was a case of like, okay, I'll pick that. I'm going to put that into a spreadsheet. I'll open that up into a separate window, have a look at the details. And some of the details you would have to have a look at was the quality of the listing. Some of these images are pretty cool. You would have a look at the bullet points. The bullet points are okay. The titles, I would say you've got a little bit of room to improve there. And then you would come down and have a look at some of the numbers with respect to the BSR. Now, the bestseller rank. Now, we're looking at 7,825. I'm just going to highlight that sort of the Amazon bestseller rank. So this is the BSR in pets. Okay, so that's reasonable. So we know that's under 10,000. So that's going to be selling quite a few products. Now, I just want to stop here and show you this graph. Now, this is Keeper. If you haven't got Keeper, this is a free download. Just go on to Keeper, and once you've signed up, it will automatically come up on every single page that you're looking at. Okay, and it gives you a number of different things to look at. So the orange bar is if Amazon's selling it, and Amazon are clearly selling this. You can see the orange bar right at the top there. So they are the majority seller on this. You've got anything new, so the lowest third-party seller, as in you and I. You've got used products as well. From time to time, you'll see a used product. Now, sometimes if you get a return, okay, Amazon will keep that return and put it into their used program. I've seen that a couple of times where my measuring spoons, for example, were returned for whatever reason. Then Amazon will say, well, hey, there's nothing wrong with these. I'm going to sell them. So if you read the terms of service, that is what they can do. There's no stopping that. So, yeah, you may think someone else is selling my products. What's going on? But it's actually Amazon trying to offload some of your own products, believe it or not. So you can see on here, this is quite a busy chart, simply because there's a number of people selling this. This is not sort of a single seller sort of item, because it's just too much going on. If you're the only seller, i.e. you're a true private label product, right, you would only see a number of different graphs on this Keeper. So this is a pricing history. You can see a number of different people have been doing this. The green track is the BSR. So we can see over the past 3 months, because I've got this set to 3 months over here. You can see over the past 3 months, it's been relatively steady from that point of view. There's not that much deviation. It's been bouncing around between 5,000 and 8,000. Yeah, it hasn't dropped down to 100,000, for example, which can happen. So if you haven't got Keeper, grab hold of Keeper. You can see I'm just signed in here as Phoebe. That's my account on Phoebe's Kitchen Products, believe it or not. So that's me on Amazon. That's me inside of all of the groups as well. So get it, Keeper. It's very easy. Just download it. It's free. No need to pay for anything like that. There's another one that I'm going to have a look at sort of later. It's Camel. That gives you very similar type of products, but information. Sorry, but you need to go off-site to get that information. Whereas Keeper just tells you on-site. So this product here, I would look at that and think, you know what, it's quite a reasonable product. I quite like this. So how many sellers are there? Well, it's got down here, used and new 21. So if you click on that, you can actually see how many sellers are. So I think there's about 21 sellers on here once that page loads. So this is not an ideal product to get into. However, what you can do is have a look at a product like this. You think, you know what, I quite like that. It's a good selling product. Let me see if I can find something similar that I can talk to the manufacturer and say, you know what, can I private label that? You can't actually sell this because there's too many competitors. So you don't want to be doing that, because if you did actually import that or find the supplier for that, you would have to list it under this listing. Okay, that's the terms of service with respect to Amazon. If you've got this particular product, you can't make a separate listing. You would have to list it under here. Consequently, this is all your competition on that one product. Okay, and you can see the price variance as well. Amazon, we already know Amazon is selling that, because when we hovered on here, the orange line was predominant. So Amazon warehouse deals, they are selling that. They've got this in stock. So if you've got fulfilled by Amazon, that means that somebody has a position of stock at the warehouse, FBA. If it hasn't got one of these little square boxes on it, it's an FBM product. In other words, they're shipping it from their home or direct from a wholesaler or whatever.
Yeah, they're
they're masters of sending stuff from their garage. And if that's the point, that only can benefit you if there are several people. Now, one of the things that I find sometimes, like I've gone into categories and you look, and then there's like half of them are from, you know, shipping FBM. And my problem with that sends me a little warning, maybe, that what the heck's going on? Why are all these people, you know, why are they all having to send it? Is it too big? Is it too heavy? You know, what's the reason that a bunch of them are FBM? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the reason that's happening? Like, there's got to be some reason why everybody's shipping in. It could be a good thing, you know what I mean? But it doesn't necessarily mean, you know, that, I mean, it could be a very good thing, but it could be a warning sign or a symptom of something that you can't be aware of. Anyway.
Yes. Yeah, no, you're right. It's yeah, you got to ask that question. So why? There's only 2 people here at Got Stock on one of those Amazon. It's, yeah, why would you want to get into this product, you know? And there's plenty of plenty of sellers. There's 3 pages plus there, so you can see this is not the actual product you want to get into. Keepa is Keepa, so Keepa. So that's the one you want. So getting back to doing the logical sort of walkthrough. I like the idea of a feeder. Okay, a cat feeder may be something that we could actually try and find later on. But this particular product, too many sellers, and the price point is not right either. Quick quiz: what's the minimum price we're selling at? $17, correct. So keep your selling price between $17 and $50, simply because anything less, take this sort of $15, go to $14.88. By the time you take the FBA fees out, the cost of the product, shipping the product over to Amazon itself, there's very little profit for you. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean profit in your pocket. That just means more profit to actually reinvest into your business. It's going to be very, very difficult to scale and build that. Whereas the more you have coming in from a profit point of view, it's going to be a lot easier to actually build your business. We're not saying that you need to build an empire straight out the gate, but yeah, you do need to build that slowly, so that you can get that sort of consistent revenue coming in every month. If you've got consistent revenue coming in every month, that means you can pay the bills every month and build from there. Sticky tape, that not sure. Look at the price point. I've got no idea what this is. This sort of cat tree tower condo scratcher. That's a hell of a title that was. Deluxe 52-inch, right? To start with, I'm not going to go anywhere near that because it's 52 inches. Maximum size I want to go to is 18 inches on anything. So I'm assuming that even if this is broken down into a number of different parts, again, that falls into the category of too many parts. Something could go wrong if you need to build it together, etc., etc. So, and again, I'm just not going to go down that road. Price point is perfect, lovely. But I'm just not going to look at that. Some of these cat players, so a couple of products I'm going to avoid there, liquids and gases. Cat scratcher, slightly oversized, but you know, it's, to start with, I want to stay within that maximum of 18 inches. So I'm going to move on this one. And again, something like a cat scratcher could be, if I can find something out there, not necessarily this model, but a cat scratcher may be the product that I want to go and investigate further. So that's the first page. I'm going to stick to the first page to start with. But like I say, before we had any analytical tools, this is basically what we had to do, just go off and do some research and put it onto a spreadsheet and have a look. And it was really a case of looking through the top 100 of everything. And it was like the top level as well. Consequently, that's where the measuring spoons come from. But what we do have now is something that we can use, and I've just loaded up. Looks like I've got ASIN Pro already loaded, so which is handy. This is a new computer, so bear with me, guys.
How did that happen?
I don't know. It looks like I need to connect. Hold on. No, hold on. I'm gonna crash out of there because I'm signed in as me. First of you, hold on. So I installed ASIN on this new computer, and I was only talking to Rob earlier, so I must get the Pro. Installed. All right, let's see if it works now. I'll do that later. But what I'll do now is just open up the standard ASIN inspector. So we can have a look at what this now. Again, it's just a quick Chrome extension. I know I've got too many up here, but it's just a Chrome extension. So over the back here, you just click on that, and it's going to open up the tab in a separate window. Okay, or open up in a separate tab. Sorry. So if I press that now, as you see, it's just open up Cat Products, and now we can start to understand what this is all about. Now, I know what you're going to say. I can't read the screen. And you're absolutely right. And there's not a lot I can do about that apart from trying to zoom in as much as I can. Increase the font size, which I'm going to do. Right. Hopefully you can see that now. So I've blown that up just for this, but you wouldn't necessarily get that big. So this is one of the advantages, or one of the features of ASIN. Down the bottom, you've got some icons, and one of those is increase the font size or decrease the font size. Probably to come down a couple. But in here, you can actually see some of the analytical details that you're looking for with respect to, do I make my mind up with respect to, is this product a good product or not? So I'm going to come down and try and find that, the tunnel, and see how well that was doing. So that was, what was it called? Trixie Pet Products. So I'm just interested with respect to, is that type of product viable, and can I move forward with it? So here it is. So instead of trying to scroll down and like then come back and which one was it, if you double click on the row of this one, it just so happens to be row number 3, Trixie Pet Products. No, it's not that one even. I got it wrong. This here it is. Look. So if I hover over that, that's going to show me what it is. So if I just double click on that row, it's just going to turn that yellow. So it's going to be very easy for me to come back and see that instantly. But if we have a look at some of the sort of the columns, we can see here what that is. If you hover over it, we've got the brand, which is Trixie. We've got the category, which is pet supplies. No surprise there. We've already had a look at the BSR, which we know that's 7,800 plus. We know that, well, this is an interesting one. Estimated sales of 205 units a month. Okay, so if you break that down, you'll be able to get your daily sales. The estimated revenue is 2,609. Now, like we said, you know, I think that the price point is a little bit low on this one. So therefore, this is not really a product that so I want to move forward with. I'm just trying to get some ideas and show you how to analyze some of these other products or some of the numbers. So you can see here the estimated monthly revenue on this is 2,600. The rating is 4.1. So, this is your star rating. So out of the 215 reviews, the overall rating for this product is 4.1 out of 5 stars. Okay, and if you hover over that, there's a little pop-up window as well that comes up. So you got 5 stars of 54%. Interestingly enough, you've got 2 stars at 6%, 1 star at 5%. So that just tells me there's a little bit of room to maneuver on this when it comes to actually improvements. So this is an Amazon seller, which we already know because we had a look at that on the back end and in Keeper. The pricing is FBA fees at $8.29. So this is some of the information you can get inside of ASIN. Now, if we have a look at some of the analytics down the bottom here, we've got keywords. We can have a look at. I don't know whether I can expand this out because I've zoomed in. This is supposed to be Google Trends with the relevant keywords attached. But what I can do is just go into Google Trends and have a look at that. Because what you're looking for is a product that is on the up or at least a steady trend. What you don't really want to do is be jumping into distracted by some of the comments, sorry. Google Trends, loom bands or something like that. You don't really want to be getting into loom bands where long term they're not ideal to jump into. If you want to make some quick money and you got your finger on the pulse with respect to anything that's new that's coming through, you can make yourself some decent money. If you're one of the first sellers of loom bands or hoverboards, you just done the one shipment, you made a killing on it, but it's not ideal from the long-term point of view.
I made a hoverboard. I got a hoverboard.
You bought one or you made one?
I'm just kidding. Like I've had one since '87, since Back to the Future.
Oh yeah. Feeder. So if you look at cat feeder, that's a pretty steady trend, which is no real surprise really. There's a lot of cat lovers and owners out there, so this type of product is going to be around for a long time. It's been around for a long time, and it's still going to be around in the future for a long time. But I just want to show you what type of thing that I mean with respect to a trend is. I call them loom bands. That's what I know they're all about. I think you call them differently. So this is a trend that you don't really want to get into from a long-term business point of view. These are the little rubber bands that you like hook over and make yourself little bracelets and stuff like that. So you can see that was a pretty good worldwide trend at the time. But look, there was nothing, huge big spike, and now there's nothing. So if you had your finger on your pulse down here, back in the early or middle of 2014, and you had a ton of product in Amazon, guess what? You're making a ton of money. But there's no way this was a long-term business plan or strategy. So that's why I'm saying you really need to have a look at the trends, make sure you're into a steady trend. Now, it's quite difficult if you're onto a trend and it's just moving up. There's no real way that you can actually tell it's going to fall off, but just be careful. if there's anything new coming through from that point of view. So this is Google Trends. This is always something that I look at from an analytical point of view with respect to looking at a new product. The other thing that really use ASIN Inspector to have a look at the numbers with respect to this. Now, the ideal number revenue-wise, because you've got to be making some profit. Now, this is revenue, so this is not profit. So the profit-wise, you've got to take that out. And like I say, with a product that's selling for not a lot of money, you're not going to be making that much money. So I'm not going to go through ASIN today in detail because I want to do that sort of later on. In detail, we're going to go through every single aspect. I'm going to go through this as well as the ASIN Inspector Pro. But you can see here that I've only got 19 products, so I just want to go over to the next page. So I'm just going to press the plus button down the bottom here and look at add, load, next page or next set of products. Just see what's coming up. So we've got some more products now we can analyze. And again, it's looking at the revenue. I just want to keep that to the top. So the revenue is this column. It's blimey. So 6,000 is okay. Look at the number of reviews as well. It's 400. Ideally, you want to keep the reviews under 300. So what you can do in here is you can actually click on revenues and you can actually sort this lowest to highest, highest to lowest. So we're looking at that. So the number of reviews, some of these lower end products, ideal. This one here is 27,000. That's got a lot of revenue. Some of these are just straight out of the gate, not earning any money at all. You don't really want to be looking at stuff like this. 11,000 at 146. Let's have a look at that, see what that is. And then we can move over. I think that could well be a scratching pad. Yeah, something like this. So if you click on that, you can actually come in there and start to have a look at what this product is. And again, from a listing point of view, we're going to go over listings. We've got one image. Now there's 9 places where you can actually load images. These guys got one. Okay, the selling price is right on our bottom line is $16.99, so call it the $17. So that works from that point of view. So it's got 146 reviews, so that's not too many. Okay, so that leaves us sort of room to actually catch this particular seller up and move over into their position. So look at the BSR on this one is 1,130 in pet supplies, whereas the tunnel, the feeding tunnel, I think it was 7,856. So this is pretty cool. Let's have a look at the reviews. So if we scroll back to the top, we can see the reviews. If we hover over that, that'll again tell us what the reviews are. And if you drop down into this table and say, if you want to have a look at the 5 stars, 4 stars, I always like to have a look at the 1-star and 2-star reviews, just so we can actually have a look at some of the comments with respect to a negativity point of view. Any negative comments on here means that is great for me as a potential private label seller, because that gives me an idea that I can actually go off and talk to a supplier and say, you know what, various different things have been an issue with this. I would like to make changes to improve it. So if you just click on that, it's going to take to the 1-star reviews. So this is the top critical. This is what Amazon sees as the worst review, as it were. So the first product, life. So you basically have a look through this. Basically, it looks like it collapsed.
Yeah, and you never know whether somebody just put it together wrong, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like, please improve this product. Okay, so that to me there is like a great opportunity for anybody looking to move into this product, because people are crying out for an improvement. So all you got to do is just go through these, copy and paste them, put them into a Word document, and actually make notes as you're going through. Right, this was a problem. This is a problem. This was a problem. And maybe there's a common trend with respect to this product. It collapses. Maybe it is because, as you say, Rob, it's being put together wrong. Now, maybe there's no instructions in the package. All right, so therefore it's simple as that. You know, so changing the instructions, you're not making the instructions clearer to understand, putting a little lock on the product as you put it together, something like that. So, you know, going through these 1-star reviews is really important. Going through the 1 and 2-star reviews, because that does allow you, and it does actually open up areas where you think, you know what, yeah, that's giving me another idea. We're not saying go and reinvent the wheel, but it just allows you to actually, you know, look at a product from an improvement point of view. Now, from a listing point of view, we clearly can do a lot better than this, even though this image is pretty cool. I can bet your bottom dollar that's straight from the supplier.
Hey, dude, that's not even a cat on top of it. That's a photoshopped image.
Yeah.
Like they took a cat laying down and then dropped him on top of it.
Yeah. So, you know, even though this one image is there, it looks pretty good. But when you actually zoom in, you're right, it's a pretty poor image, really. So, yeah, you can do a lot from that. But, you know, when you're looking around, it's going to give you an idea of what else to actually look into. I can't see what I'm doing. I zoomed in too far.
That just marks. You go across here. You go across here. You don't need to go back. You just wait.
So, I'm going to come out of that and start again. So this cat scratcher here, I was quite interested in that. And again, if you look into an individual product, again, you can just click onto ASIN, have a look at the numbers, see what they're all about. Yeah, the resolution's not on here. Don't forget we are direct into YouTube. So just click on the little gear wheel and increase the resolution there.
It actually, I mean, I can see it pretty good on my screen. Like you can read all of the fonts easily, and so we're good, I think.
Yeah, we should be all right, even on the recording anyway. So on here, we've just gone into an individual product just to have a look at that, and you can see the estimated revenue is 6,000 plus, selling about 148 units a month, which is pretty cool. BSR of 10,000. So, you know, we try and find products just under 10,000, but this is slightly over. So which is okay. You got 500 reviews, which is slightly on the top end, but I want to try and get some ideas. So I'm just going to load sort of more products on top of that. There are no more products left to be shown. All right, fair enough. Like I said, I'm not going to go into all the actions over here on the right-hand side with respect to what they do on AC. I'm going to do that in a separate video. But at least you can see now what the numbers are like. So we've got Keeper we've had a look at today. We've got a quick look at ASIN, and just to check your numbers with respect to the revenue. Is the sales correct? What does that compare to other products in that first page? Now, if you haven't got Keeper, I highly recommend it. If you haven't got ASIN, talk to us. We've got a discount code. I just wanted to wrap it up sort of there, because I know you wanted to talk about the strategy a little bit, Rob, which I think is really important at this stage as well. So if anybody's got any questions with respect to to anything that we're looking at here with respect to trying to find a product, then please ask away. I noticed sort of some of those have done Google Trends. Yeah, that's always a good one to have a look at, Bill. Yeah, I hope you get your little issues sorted there. That is always an issue. You know, if you've got a good product, people will jump onto that.
Give me one. I got to get 1 second. I'm trying to plug in my computer was dying. So let me.
For the EU market, Daniel, ASIN Inspector does. It will actually show you Europe. All you got to do is go into the settings, particularly on the Pro version, ASIN Inspector Pro, which I'll get that up and running for next month.
All right. So are we ready for me to roll or not?
Yep. I'm just going to stop my screen share and hand it over to you, sir.
All right.
All yours.
I've had to move in the room, so I'm sitting. And I won't share my face at the moment because I'm sitting in an awkward position because I own it. We've got a great house over here in Chiang Mai that a bunch of guys are working out of on Amazon. But so there's only one plug in the house that has like a 3-prong. So all right, so let's quickly just go over the ultimate strategy and what we're trying to do. So the first thing is we're trying to be in low competition, micro niches is what I call them. So 150 or less competitors is what we're looking for. And then what we're looking to do is to find products that maybe we can, get in there and read those reviews and see if there's some weak links in them. And then, like you said, that one problem may have been a problem that the instructions weren't in there, and you just figure that out, and all you had to do is put some instructions in there and you're going to get better reviews. So, we find a product like that. The next thing is to find it and being able to source, 100 or a couple hundred products only. So you may get into a situation where you can't do a product up front, even if it's a great product, but you can't do it because, you get in there and you can't get somebody to sell you 100 or 2 of them. Well, don't all of a sudden let someone pressure you into getting 1,000 because you think it's a good idea without doing a test product on it. So the idea is then to launch your product with 100 or 200 items, get it into Amazon, make sure you have that great listing, make sure your listing's well, make sure you spend a little bit of time and effort on the listing and making sure you have a great picture. And then what you want to do is you want to then get ready, make sure that you get yourself about a dozen reviews. We're currently right now, hey, Paul, I did send you that link, didn't I, of all the promotional companies out there?
Yes.
Anyway,
yes.
we need to break that down, and we can publish that inside. But I now have a list of all the different promotional companies up there that are doing discounts. Now, no longer are they required to do a review, but what you can do is this is how you get some momentum up front is you could sell 20 a day at $3 of your product, and then those people buy organically for the $3. They're not required to leave a review, and if they do leave a review, they can just leave a regular review, and there's no problem with that because they are paying for their deal and they're not required to give a review. But one of the things that's happened in these groups is that about 50% of them actually still leave a review. So between that and you personally pushing hard and using your imagination and making sure you get some reviews, I always suggest that you try to find one person to do a video review and then one person to do a picture review in your first 12. So you get those 12 reviews. Then what you do is you begin your pay-per-click campaign. So you start pay-per-click, because the bottom line is if you're on the front page and your product's on the front page and it can sell, it doesn't matter whether you have 200 in there or 1,000 in there. That's not going to change anything. It's either selling or it isn't selling, and you can break into that market. So by being able to put your pay-per-click on there, test it out, make sure that product can sell against the other people. So you're able to say, okay, if I'm on the second page, which you can be, So you make sure your pay-per-click, you're able to find out whether people are converting when you're against them on the second page and the third page. So you know whether or not you can compete with people. So if you can compete with people, great. Now what you do is and during that process, maybe you're changing out and using Splitly, and you're being able to split test, well, this picture converts better than this picture. And so what you're trying to do is dial in whether or not you can sell this product. If you can and you get any sales traction at all, then you order up and you go get yourself 500 or 1,000 of them. If not, you lower the price and you liquidate it and you start over. So now we only have a couple hundred of these products. We're not sitting on 800 or 900 of them, and you're able to go through and make sure that there's a good product in there. One of the other things about testing these things out up front is that you can find out what the pay-per-click is before you even order the 100 or 200. That has to be a part of your deal of knowing what's involved in launching your product, which is how much does it, how much does the pay-per-click cost? Because if the pay-per-click cost is super high, how are you going to make a profit and make money if the pay-per-click? So those are part of the evaluation. How many competitors, how many, what's the distribution of the amount of money in that category? If everybody at the top of the category has all the sales, well, then what's the purpose? Everyone already has all the sales at the top of it. That means you have to be the first 3 people to possibly compete. Well, that's not good. We need to see people on the second page making a little bit of money. Now, if it all falls off after the second page, no problem. But you got to have at least 2 pages of people doing money. And even on the second page, if they're doing 1,000, remember, my goal and my strategy is find me a product that does at least $1,500 a month in sales. $1,500 a month in sales should put about $500 in cash revenue and profit into your pocket. So the idea is you get $500 a month on one product. We add 3 products, now you got $1,500. So that's the idea is to find a product that has a small niche that's at least doing $1,500 a month, and then try to go in and dominate that market based upon you having better skills. Now think about it. If there's a pile full of people doing 120 people doing a product, how many of them are C's, D's, and F's? Better than 70% of them, right? So 70% of them are C's, D's, and F's. You're a B and an A guy. So that means the amount of competition and great sellers in a small niche is much, much less. Meaning if you're in a product category with 500 people, there's a whole likelihood that there's a lot more people who are really super good. And then you're entering into a place where there's a bunch of super good people already. So now what are you doing? So that's the idea, is to get yourself in to these smaller niches where you can order a small MOQ, test the product. Once you test the product, if it works, you renew. If not, you sell it. And that strategy, I keep seeing people do it and launch and do well quickly. So I can tell you, I keep seeing that work a lot, and I keep seeing it work over and over and over again right now. So, that's the basic strategy, and we'll continue to go through that strategy because I think it's super important for you to hear it. I had somebody that I've had this conversation. Paul and I have had this conversation with people for years now, and the other day I got somebody calling me, and they're selling yoga towels. You're selling yoga towels, you've completely missed everything that I said. Like, I don't know who you were listening to when there was 500 people selling yoga towels, and you decided after, watching 10 webinars of me on it that you said, I think Rob means yoga towels is good. No, yoga towels are not good. There's 400 people selling yoga towels. Well, there's 400 pages of people selling yoga towels. So there's, 2,000 people selling yoga towels, and a yoga towel is a yoga towel is a yoga towel. Like, you can't really do much to separate yourself except make it a little thicker and maybe increase the quality, but you still, now, a yoga towel ad cost you $3, and they're now selling, because there's so many competitors, that used to be a $35 item, and now it's down to about $18. So people are selling them at $18, cost you $10 to get the thing here. Amazon's getting $8, and now you're breaking even. There's no money in it. So the idea is super small niches that you can go in and dominate, make yourself $500 to $1,000. Now that means that's our goal out of the gate. Hey, I'm gonna get on page 2. I'm gonna make my $1,500 in sales, and I'll be happy if it stays there. Now the likelihood that you stay there, because you're gonna continue to improve, you're gonna get better at your product, that the likelihood is you're gonna move up beyond that. So you're actually gonna make more money. It's just a matter of, we know where the worst case scenario is I want to try to make $1,500. Even if you fall short of that and you make $1,000. You're still making $300 a month, and $300 a month starts to build that supplemental income so that you can go do what you want to do. And, you know, a couple of $400 products a month, all of a sudden now you're paying your house payment and we're moving our business. Now, you know, ultimately the end game in this is for you to be selling stuff. And then right now people are buying Amazon businesses. There's a lot of people out there that are willing to buy your Amazon business. And we'll have a whole show. I've got some guys in a company called Empire Flippers that will come up here. And basically these guys broker out Amazon business. So if you've been in the Amazon business a year, you're making at least $1,000 a month. There are people out there, and I've got 4 friends right now that just sold their Amazon businesses for $100,000+. So I sent that out, and they sold their business for, you know, $100,000 because these companies are paying 25 times your monthly sales. So if you're doing $10,000 a month in revenue, they're going to pay you $250,000. Essentially, they're going to give you 25 months into the future of your sales. So the point is that if you run your business for a year, you make $1,000 a month, you then can turn your year into 12,000 you made plus the 25 times, so another 25. So you can make $40,000 on your business on a $2,000 or $3,000 investment over a year. So that happens to be my specific strategy right now. You can certainly keep holding on to your business, but if someone's willing to give me 25 times the amount of money I make in a month after a year, you can bet your bottom dollar I'll sell it. So, and then now you've got $25,000, $30,000 you can invest in 5 different new products and test those out. So that's kind of the strategy I'm using. That's a strategy I've been talking about here for a while. It's doing super successful. So that puts us at about 10 o'clock. Anybody else got any questions? Do we have any questions down there? How much time do you invest learning before you order a product? A lot of people seem to spend a lot of time researching. I personally am more practically as I go. I agree with James. I agree that I think people get so caught up at analyzing and searching, they make themselves lost. I can just tell you this, if you guys go find me 5 products that also have less than 150 competitors, I'll guarantee you one of those 5 will work. You just got to make sure that you know how to count competitors. We've done a whole video on that a couple of weeks ago, and maybe we need to retouch that again next week, Paul. But I really believe the most important thing that you can have in this business, period, every single thing, if you said, Rob, what's the one thing I got to know that's the most important thing to be successful, is how many have and are less than 150, ideally under 100. For that thing first, if you'll find that item first, after easy. If you just, like I said, if you just came to me and said, listen, I got 5 products, all less than 150 competitors, if you did that every time, I could find one of those 5 products that you could sell and make sense. Obviously, there's some more parameters on that, but that has a lot to do with 90% of it as far as I'm concerned. So researching forever and creating up, you know, tons and tons of stuff. You got to get in there and do it. We're talking about spending, you know, I mean, I had somebody launch a product the other day. They got $600, you know, in their product, and, you know, it was a lower price product. So they've got, you know, I don't know, 300 or 400 items they're ready to sell. And, you know, it was a lightweight product. And so here we go. And now they're going to learn more that way. Now, remember, my first thing I always tell guys is you've got to get a product up there. And I know people on this call have products up there, but if you don't have one, the thing that I keep encouraging people is to get a product up there. I don't care how you get it up there, but you need a product in Amazon. I don't care if you go you go down the store and you buy 5 items, you send them in there and you do a package or a bundle, that's fine. But, you know, we've been encouraging people to use Cole Imports, find your 2 products, send them in, spend $100, have those products inside of Amazon so that you can then learn how to write a listing and learn how to do all this stuff functionally as your product's being shipped from China, so that you're a seller right away instead of waiting weeks and weeks and months before you actually have a product on Amazon. This is not a product we're going to try to make money on. This is what I call a learning product. Why try to learn on something you spend $1,000 when you could learn on something you spend $50 to $100? So if you haven't seen the Cole video, there's a great Cole video out about Coles I did with Start Your Amazon Business in 2 weeks with $250. Almost 20,000 people have watched that. I know about 200 people that have actually done that now, because I can kind of estimate how much money they're spending based upon how much revenue they've done and spent in in cold. So people are doing it, and it just gives people the indication or the idea of how this process works. I'm going to say this out loud again. It is not 100% not about trying to make money with that product. I don't believe that that's a business model that you want to get into, is doing business with cold. Now, do people do it? Yes. I just think that it's a very big uphill battle. So my point is you use Cole Imports to get yourself a product on Amazon so you can get started right away and then move forward. So that's my strategy conversation of the day. You know, just get out there and start looking for people with competitors less than 150. If you need to shout at me or Paul or any of the other Guerrillas Tribe members, you know, we'd be more than happy to look at it and kind of give you our opinion on it and say, hey, look, you know what? I've counted the competitors. You're off. There's 250 people here. So, and then maybe next week, at the end of next week's call, Paul, we'll go through how to count how many competitors there are and really get an idea of what the competition is after we do our product search next week. Because right now we're just trying to get everybody in. Some new people came in, and bottom line is the more you can learn about picking products, the more likelihood that you're going to do something more successful by having great products. Are there certain main categories that you would recommend for starting out, like pets, toys, kitchen tools? What I would recommend in that area is that I would stay away from gated communities. If it's gated, then you know there is more work for you to do. So let's not put yourself into more work. If you find a product you think is the greatest product on earth, you want to roll down that thing, well then go ahead. But I wouldn't set out to do that. So I would set out to only work in categories that are open out of the gate. By the way, I don't know if people are aware of this. Amazon last week created a super category of jewelry, shoes. I don't know. There's something else. Jewelry, shoes, and sunglasses maybe. So it's a mega category now. They combine them all into one. So, all right, that's what I got this week. Any other questions anybody else has out there? Hey, thanks for tuning in today. I appreciate it. If you got any questions this week, go ahead and post them in the Guerrillas Base Camp or hit me up. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. Hop on a quick call if you need me to. You got anything else to add, Paul?
I'm just I had a general idea. If you're really stuck for ideas, just go to Amazon, put in like I had cat products, and you can see pet supplies up here, and you can see the categories they're under. So it's just like click on one of those. I'm in birds now. It just small animals. You know, just search around, just have a look. You know, if you're stuck for ideas, you know, there's plenty of places you can have a look for. So yeah, just get in there and start doing it. We're going to continue this. We're going to be a little bit more succinct next week on ASIN Inspector. I'm going to get that up and running. Apart from that, it's all good. Thanks very much for joining us. Some good questions in there. So in the meantime, have a pleasant one.
See you. Nice to see you. Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody. Bye.